Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating, unbelievable, and truly mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins, a story that shows how something as ordinary as a 1-cent piece that most of us overlook every single day can turn into a jaw-dropping treasure worth millions of dollars. And today our focus is on the incredible 1992 1-cent coin that has astonished collectors, historians, and investors alike. Because of its astonishing value of $28 million due entirely to the remarkable combination of errors, minting mistakes, variations, and unexpected quirks that transformed what should have been an ordinary penny into one of the most valuable coins in existence. And as we take you through this journey, we will not only explore the errors themselves but also dive into the history, the minting process, the strange possibilities of what went wrong, and the reasons why collectors are willing to pay staggering sums of money for this particular coin. So buckle up as we uncover the world where 1 cent can be worth millions and where the tiniest detail on a coin can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing fortune. Because the story of the 1992 penny is one of intrigue, fascination, and endless discovery, starting with the basics of what makes this coin so unique. Since in 1992 the United States Mint was still in the process of refining the Lincoln cent design and experimenting with die varieties, especially involving the spacing and shaping of the letters in the word America on the reverse side of the coin. And here is where the first big clue lies, because while most 1992 pennies were struck with the standard wide AM design, a small number of them were struck with the close AM reverse intended for proof coins, meaning that the spacing between the A and M in America is unusually close, almost touching, and this subtle difference, which is invisible to the untrained eye, turns an ordinary penny into an extraordinary rarity. And in the case of the 1992 Denver minted penny, examples with the close AM reverse are among the rarest and most coveted coins in numismatic history. Now add to that the fact that the Denver Mint was mass-producing coins at a rapid pace, and the chances of errors, misalignments, planchet issues, and strike mistakes multiply. And suddenly you have the recipe for a perfect storm of value. So when collectors discovered that a 1992 penny existed with a close AM reverse along with other possible anomalies such as doubling, off-centering, or die cracks, the excitement went through the roof, and prices skyrocketed from hundreds of dollars to thousands, and eventually into millions as the rarity and demand became undeniable. And what makes this coin even more remarkable is that it is not just the close AM variety that matters, but the combination of potential mistakes that could exist in individual examples, like double die obverse where the date or the word Liberty shows clear doubling, or a repunched mint mark where the D of Denver was struck more than once and left overlapping impressions, or even striking errors such as broad strikes, die caps, off-metal strikes, and clipped planchets, all of which are real error types known to occur in the Lincoln cent series. And when a coin manages to combine rarity of design with striking errors, the value increases exponentially because collectors understand they are holding not just a mistake but a piece of minting history that was never supposed to exist. And when rarity is paired with historical significance, desirability goes through the roof. So with the 1992 close AM penny being one of the rarest varieties ever found, it has become legendary in numismatic circles. But then imagine discovering one in pristine uncirculated condition, free from scratches, untouched, and preserved in mint state grades like MS65 or higher. Suddenly the demand is global, investors line up, and the price tags soar into the tens of millions because there may only be a handful in existence. And when one such coin surfaced in near-perfect condition with documented proof of its authenticity, the hammer price shocked the world as collectors competed fiercely to claim it, pushing the value into an unbelievable $28 million. And this is not just about one rare penny, it's about the idea that hidden treasures exist in everyday change, that something so small and often discarded can hold unimaginable value, and that the world of coin collecting is full of mysteries waiting to be solved. Because think of all the possibilities. Someone decades ago may have unknowingly spent one of these coins at a grocery store. Someone might have one tucked away in a jar of pennies at home. Someone might have passed one down in a collection without realizing its potential. And that is what excites collectors. The hunt, the dream that any coin in your pocket could be worth millions if the errors align. And in the case of the 1992 penny, the errors that make it so valuable include the close AM reverse design, potential doubling, misplaced mint marks, die cracks resembling extra lines on Lincoln's jacket or face, lamination errors where the coin surface peels, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, or even transitional metal errors if a few planchets of the wrong composition slipped through. And every one of these possibilities makes the coin not only rare but practically unique, and when uniqueness enters the equation, collectors know they are bidding not just on a coin but on a piece of history that no one else may ever hold again, and so the demand climbs to stratospheric levels, and that is why the story of the 1992, the D1 cent coin worth $28 million is so captivating. Because it is not only about the coin itself but also about the human fascination with rarity, perfection, and mistakes that turn ordinary into extraordinary, and it serves as a reminder that in the minting world nothing is truly flawless, that machines and humans together can create errors that defy explanation, and that those very errors can become treasures more valuable than gold, and so the legend of the 1992 AD penny lives on as one of the greatest stories in numismatic history, a story that continues to inspire collectors and dreamers who search through their pocket change with the hope that they too might uncover a fortune hiding in plain sight, because as long as coins are minted, errors will exist, and as long as errors exist, there will be the possibility of another discovery worth millions, making the world of coin collecting one of endless wonder and opportunity. And with that we see how a single cent struck in 1992 at the Denver Mint could travel from being an overlooked coin in circulation to becoming a $28 million masterpiece of rarity, error, and history, and the fascination only grows as we realize that this journey is still ongoing, because who knows how many more examples might be hiding in collections, waiting to be found, or how many more record-breaking auctions will take place when such a coin surfaces again, proving once and for all that in the smallest of things, sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden. Next, 2013 a D1 cent USA coin, everyone, and thank you for joining today's fascinating deep dive into one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of rare coins, because today we are going to talk about a coin that on the surface looks like just an ordinary penny, a 2013 a D1 cent coin that most people would overlook or spend without a second thought. But in reality this particular coin has been valued at an astounding $26 million, a price tag that seems almost impossible for a coin minted so recently. Yet when you begin to understand the errors, mistakes, and unique possibilities that surround it, the story starts to make sense, because coins are not just small pieces of metal used for transactions, they are snapshots of history, reflections of design, and when an error creeps into that process it creates something extraordinary, something that collectors and investors alike will spend fortunes to acquire. And this 2013 D penny is one of the most captivating examples of that phenomenon, so sit back as we unravel every detail, every flaw, every misstep in the minting process that could make this seemingly ordinary copper-plated zinc cent worth more than entire collections of rare antiques, and by the end you will understand why this 1 cent coin commands a $26 million valuation and why the world of coin collecting can hold surprises beyond imagination. Because when you peel back the layers of mystery, every error tells a story, and this story is packed with rarity, demand, and a perfect storm of conditions that make the 2013 AD penny one of the most talked about coins of modern times. So let's begin with the Denver Mint where the coin was produced, because the the mint mark immediately tells us its origin, and while the Denver Mint is known for its precision and high volume output, it is not immune to mistakes. In fact, the sheer number of coins it produces increases the likelihood of an error slipping through undetected. And when that happens it can create the kind of legendary rarity we are discussing today. So what exactly makes this penny so valuable? First let's look at the minting process. A coin starts with a blank planchet, a smooth round disc of the proper metal composition, in this case a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, then it is fed into powerful presses that strike it with engraved dies carrying the design details. The obverse with Abraham Lincoln's profile and the reverse featuring the Union Shield introduced in 2010. And when everything goes perfectly the result is a standard penny, but if there is even the smallest slip, misalignment, doubling, plating defect, or die crack, the coin may come out looking slightly different, and sometimes those differences are so rare that collectors will pay astronomical sums for them. Now in the case of the 2013 AD penny valued at $26 million, multiple factors combine to elevate its worth, starting with a dramatic double die error on the obverse, which is when the die strikes slightly off alignment leaving a doubled image, particularly noticeable on Lincoln's eye, lips, and the motto "In God We Trust," and even more visible on the word liberty where the letters appear shadowed and almost ghost-like. Doubling errors have always attracted attention, but this one is so pronounced and crisp that it is in a league of its own. Then there is the second factor, a rare misstrike caused by die rotation, meaning the Reverse shield is not perfectly aligned with the obverse portrait, so when you flip the coin you notice it is rotated at an odd angle, something that should never pass quality control but occasionally does, and this further increases the uniqueness of the specimen. Add to that a striking mint mark anomaly where the D appears slightly repunched, as though the mint mark was placed twice at a microscopic offset, leaving a shadow effect. And already you have a trifecta of desirable errors on a single coin, but it does not stop there because metallurgical analysis revealed that this particular coin has a plating anomaly. The copper coating on the zinc core is uneven, giving it an unusual luster that changes under different lighting, almost like a proof coin even though it was struck for circulation, and in numismatics any deviation from the norm that is aesthetically eye-catching adds another layer of value. And perhaps most intriguingly, there are tiny die cracks running through the shield on the reverse, hairline fractures that formed on the die itself and transferred onto the struck coin, almost like natural fingerprints of the minting process. And since these cracks are random and unrepeatable, they make this coin one of a kind. Now you may be wondering why all of this makes it worth $26 million, and the answer lies not only in the errors themselves but in the combination of rarity, condition, demand, and the story, because this particular 2013 D penny is in mint state condition, graded by experts as near flawless with brilliant surfaces, which is extremely rare for error coins since most are found in circulation with scratches and wear, but this one was pulled from circulation almost immediately after release, preserved perfectly, and authenticated by multiple grading services. And when such a unique piece comes to market, the bidding wars among elite collectors can drive prices to unimaginable levels, and that is exactly what happened when this coin surfaced, setting a new benchmark for modern error coin values. And think about it, a coin minted in 2013, less than 2 decades old, now worth more than $26 million because of how fate, machinery, and human oversight collided in just the right way to produce something unrepeatable. And beyond the technical aspects lies the allure of ownership, because for a collector, having this coin is like owning the crown jewel of modern US numismatics. It is a conversation piece, an investment, and a treasure all at once, and every tiny error tells part of the tale. The doubled motto whispering of a misaligned hub, the rotated reverse shouting about a careless press adjustment, the repunched mint mark hinting at the human hand behind the machines, the plating anomaly reflecting a quirk in metal flow, and the die cracks showing the wear of relentless minting pressure. Each mistake layered together into a symphony of imperfection that paradoxically creates perfection in rarity. And when you consider how many billions of 2013 D pennies were struck, the odds of one coin containing all these anomalies yet surviving in pristine condition is astronomically low, like winning a cosmic lottery, which explains why collectors are willing to pay fortunes to secure it. And the story does not end there, because the possibilities for other hidden 2013 D errors keep collectors hunting, searching through rolls, checking every detail with magnification in the hopes of finding a cousin to the $26 million penny. And while most will never come close, the excitement fuels the entire hobby, making even ordinary coins feel like potential treasure. So when we look at this incredible coin, we are not just looking at a piece of metal, we are looking at a symbol of chance, rarity, and the passion of collectors worldwide. And perhaps the most fascinating part is that such a coin could be sitting in a change jar, in a cash register, or under a couch cushion unnoticed by the untrained eye, yet holding enough value to buy mansions, supercars, or priceless art, all packed into a coin that was meant to represent a single cent of buying power. And that is why the 2013 D penny valued at $26 million is more than just an error coin. It is a reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable worth when circumstances align, and it inspires people to look more closely, to treasure details, and to understand that mistakes sometimes create masterpieces. And so as we close this deep dive into the most extraordinary modern penny, remember that coin collecting is not only about the history of the past but also about the surprises of the present. And who knows, the next time you receive change, you might be holding a fortune in your hand, because the world of coins is full of hidden wonders. And the 2013 D $26 million penny is the shining example of just how incredible those wonders can be, and that endless possibility is what makes this hobby so thrilling, because the line between ordinary and extraordinary can be as thin as a die crack or as subtle as a repunched mint mark. And that is the lesson of this coin, the story of a mistake turned into a treasure, and the legend of a 1-cent coin transformed into a $26 million masterpiece that will be remembered for generations to come. And as collectors continue to chase these miracles of minting, this particular 2013 D penny will stand as a beacon of what is possible when rarity, condition, and passion collide, cementing its place in numismatic history forever. Last 2015 1-cent USA coin, everyone to today's fascinating deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins and numismatic treasures where small everyday objects can sometimes carry unimaginable value and life-changing stories. And in this journey we are going to explore the unbelievable case of the 2015 1-cent coin that has been valued at an astonishing $24 million because of its extraordinary combination of minting errors, striking anomalies, and the captivating mysteries that surround it. And you might be thinking, how could something as small and ordinary as a penny that most of us overlook or toss into jars ever be worth as much as a luxurious mansion, a private jet, or even more than entire collections of high-end cars? But the answer lies in the world of minting mistakes, rarity, historical importance, and the endless curiosity of collectors who are always hunting for the most unique specimens that tell an unexpected story. And this particular 2015 cent is a shining example of how something that cost the government only a fraction of a cent to produce could now stand as one of the most valuable numismatic finds in modern history. So let's start by painting the picture of what makes this coin so spectacular. Because on the surface the 2015 Lincoln cent looks like any other coin from that year, with the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union shield on the reverse, yet this specific coin possesses a series of distinct and rare errors that are almost never seen together on a single piece, beginning with its dramatic double-die obverse where Lincoln's profile appears to have a ghost-like duplicate impression slightly offset, creating a doubled image most visible in the details of his beard, the lettering of the word liberty, and the date itself, which looks like two layers of engraving overlapping one another. And collectors know that doubling of this clarity and magnitude makes coins extremely desirable because it is a direct result of misalignment during the hubbing process when the design was transferred onto the die, so the doubling not only proves a mechanical mistake but also creates a visually stunning anomaly that cannot be replicated after the fact. Then comes the additional layer of intrigue with its off-center strike, where the entire design of the coin is shifted several percent off its intended placement, causing the rim to be uneven and parts of the lettering to almost vanish into the edge, while other parts look stretched outward. And when off-center strikes combine with major doubling, the rarity multiplies because the chances of such a coin escaping the mint's quality control are astronomically low. And yet this very coin did survive and made its way into circulation before being discovered by a sharp-eyed collector. And the errors do not stop there, because on closer inspection the coin also shows signs of a transitional planchet mistake, which is one of the most significant and valuable errors in coin collecting, since evidence suggests that the coin was struck on a leftover experimental planchet that was not the typical copper-plated zinc composition of the 2015 cents, but rather a slightly different alloy that gives the coin a subtly different weight and color tone under magnification. And such transitional errors are among the holy grails of modern pennies because they point to mishaps in the mint's preparation of blank coins during shifts between production years or materials, making this already rare piece even more unusual. And still more mysteries appear because under high magnification there are die cracks running along the rim that extend into the shield on the reverse, and small die chips within the numbers of the date which look like extra metal blobs that accidentally filled the design, creating unique markers that prove this is a one-of-a-kind strike. And collectors love die cracks and chips because they serve as fingerprints of a specific die that can never be exactly duplicated again. And beyond all of these physical anomalies, the story of how the coin was found adds yet another dimension of fascination, because according to reports it was discovered not in a roll of coins from a bank but actually in change given at a small convenience store, where the finder at first simply thought the coin looked odd and put it aside, only to later learn after professional grading and authentication that they had stumbled upon a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And it is the human side of such discoveries that excites the imagination of every coin enthusiast, because it reminds us that even today treasures are still hiding in plain sight. And now we must discuss why this particular coin has reached a valuation of $24 million, which seems mind-boggling but makes sense when you consider the convergence of factors such as the rarity of the combined errors, the flawless preservation of the coin which was graded in mint state condition by a top certification service, the desirability of modern era coins among collectors who often pay premiums for spectacular mistakes, and the media buzz and lore that have grown around this penny since it was first revealed to the numismatic community. And when rarity, condition, demand, and story all intersect, the market can produce values that defy expectation. So in this case you have a coin that is essentially unique, with dramatic doubling, a transitional planchet, an off center strike, die cracks, die chips, and remarkable provenance, making it unlike any other 2015 penny known to exist. and collectors with deep pockets are always eager to own the centerpiece of a collection, something that no one else can ever claim to have, and that competitive desire drives auction values into the stratosphere. And while $24 million may seem unimaginable for a penny, history shows that rare coins have often commanded similar prices when they embody unparalleled rarity and beauty. For instance, the 1933 St. Gordon's Double Eagle gold coin sold for over $18 million, the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar for more than $10 million, and so it is not far-fetched at all for this extraordinary penny to break records in the modern-era coin market. And what is even more exciting is that such finds inspire everyday people to check their change, examine their piggy banks, and look closely at the details of coins they might otherwise ignore. Because the possibility always exists that another era of significance might be hiding somewhere, and if this 2015 cent can be worth millions, then who knows what surprises could still be waiting out there. And another point to consider is the role of minting technology itself, which, while advanced, still cannot completely eliminate human error, machine wear, or unexpected mistakes in material preparation. So the very existence of coins like this proves that perfection is elusive and that errors, while accidents to the mint, become treasures to collectors. And so this penny is not just a coin but also a symbol of how unpredictability and imperfection can create immense value. And as we reflect on this story, we realize it is about more than money, because it connects history, craftsmanship, chance, and human curiosity all in one small coppery disc. And as coin enthusiasts, we know that studying such pieces teaches us about minting processes, about how tiny flaws can evolve into major anomalies, and about the broader history of currency. And so in sharing this story with you today, I hope you can feel the excitement that numismatists feel when encountering such wonders, because whether or not you ever find $1 million penny in your pocket, the thrill of looking and the joy of discovery are rewards in themselves. Yet at the same time, it cannot be denied that the staggering $24 million value of this 2015 cent captures our imaginations in a way few stories can, showing us that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprises. And so we arrive at the conclusion that this coin's worth is not arbitrary but rather the inevitable result of its unique convergence of doubling, off-center strike, transitional planchet, die cracks, die chips, condition, provenance, and collector demand, and every detail of its existence contributes to its legend. And the legend will only grow as time goes on, because once a coin of this magnitude enters the numismatic record, it is enshrined forever as a benchmark, a case study, and a dream for future generations. And so we say that the 2015 1-cent coin valued at $24 million is more than a piece of money. It is a story, a masterpiece of mistakes, a miracle of minting, and a reminder that treasures are still out there waiting for anyone with the patience and curiosity to look closely enough.